The plate hit the floor with a crash that silenced the diner. Syrup splattered, pancakes folded in on themselves, and a girl's trembling hands froze in midair. Clara didn't look up right away. She couldn't. Her throat had tightened so much it hurt to breathe. Around her, the laughter of 3 teenage boys cut through the stillness. Sharp, mocking, cruel. The Maplewood Diner was usually a warm place. The smell of butter and coffee, the hum of quiet conversation, the soft music that played from the jukebox in the corner. But that morning, all of it felt wrong. The light through the window didn't feel gentle. It exposed everything. The smirks, the stares, the pity. Clara's wheelchair sat slightly crooked now. One wheel bumped against the edge of the booth. She bent down, trying to gather the pancakes with trembling fingers. Desperate to make the mess disappear, one of the boys snorted. "Look, she can't even do that right." The sound of his voice made her eyes sting. She wanted to disappear, to melt into the tile floor. And no one moved. Not a single person. A waitress stood frozen with a tray of coffee cups. A couple by the window turned their heads away. Even the cook behind the counter stared, jaw tight, but said nothing. If this moment touches your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom, because stories like this remind us what courage and compassion can do. Clara had been through worse, at least that's what she told herself. Born with a spinal condition, she had lived her whole life in a wheelchair. But she'd also learned to smile through things that would break most people. Her parents used to tell her she had wings, even if no one could see them. Still, on mornings like this, she felt those wings were broken. She reached again for the plate, but another hand got there first. It wasn't rough or mocking. It was steady, gentle. An older man, gray at the temples, picked up her plate and placed it carefully on the table. His voice was soft. "Don't mind them," he said. "They're not worth your tears." Clara looked up and their eyes met. He gave her a small, uncertain smile. It didn't erase the shame or the sting of what had just happened. But it mattered. It was something real. The boys at the next booth went back to their phones, pretending to laugh at something else. But the air had shifted. The whole diner was holding its breath. Clara sat quietly, pushing pieces of pancake around her plate, wishing she could roll out and never come back. And then, an hour later, came a sound that no one expected. At first, it was distant. A deep rumble, like a storm far away. Then it grew louder. The floor began to tremble beneath the diner's chrome stools. People turned toward the wide glass windows, one by one. Motorcycles rolled into the parking lot, 20, maybe 30 of them, their chrome gleaming under the sun. They parked in perfect formation, engines growling like thunder settling into a heartbeat. Someone whispered, "Hell's Angels." The laughter at the booth stopped. The boys' faces went pale. The door of the diner swung open with a soft jingle of the bell. The sound was delicate, but the silence that followed it was heavy. A man stepped in first, tall, broad shoulders, beard streaked with gray, eyes like steel. The patches on his vest left no doubt who he was. Behind him came several more riders, filling the narrow aisle with their presence. Clara's heart raced. She'd heard about the Hells Angels. Most people were afraid of them, but something in the way the first man looked at her made her pulse slow. He didn't look angry. He looked protective. His gaze swept the diner. It stopped at the boys' booth. No one spoke. The man's name, someone would later whisper, was Roar. He didn't need to raise his voice to make a point. His silence was enough. He stepped closer to Clara. His boots were heavy on the tiles, but his eyes softened when he reached her. He knelt down, his leather vest creasing as he leaned in. "You all right, sweetheart?" he asked quietly. Clara nodded. "Barely." Roar glanced toward the boys, who now looked ready to sink through the floor. He didn't yell. He didn't need to. He just stared, steady, calm, the kind of look that stripped away all false courage. "Was it you?" he asked them. The leader of the Bullies swallowed hard. "We were just..." Roar's voice stayed even. "Just what?" Teaching her something? The boy's voice broke. We didn't mean... Yeah, Roar said. You did. Silence again. Every eye in the diner was on them. The waitress stood still behind the counter, one hand over her mouth. The sound of a coffee pot dripping filled the space between heartbeats. Then Roar turned away. Come on, he said to his men. They moved as one, not toward the door but toward the counter. One of them pulled out a thick wad of bills and set it down. Whatever she wants, he told the waitress. Breakfast, lunch, dessert, milkshake, the whole menu if she wants it. Clara blinked, unsure what to say. Roar smiled at her. You don't let cowards like that decide how you feel about yourself, you hear? You're stronger than any of them. And then he did something no one in that diner would ever forget. He took off his vest, the one with the Hell's Angels insignia, heavy with patches and history, and draped it gently over Clara's shoulders. This, he said softly, means your family now. Tears filled Clara's eyes. She had no words, only a trembling whisper of thank you. The boys couldn't look up. They slid out of the booth, heads down, and walked quickly toward the exit. Outside, the motorcycle still waited. A wall of chrome and leather and unspoken justice. When the bullies stepped out, the bikers didn't say a word. They just watched, and somehow that silence spoke louder than any punishment. Inside, the tension began to fade. People started breathing again. Someone clapped quietly, then another. Soon the entire diner filled with applause. The waitress wiped her eyes as she refilled Clara's cup. You're not alone anymore, honey, she said. Clara smiled through her tears. For the first time that morning, the world didn't feel cruel. It felt right. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom. Stories like this remind us that humanity still lives in the small, quiet corners of our days. Clara stayed in the diner long after the rumble of the motorcycles faded away. She kept the vest on, the smell of leather and road dust grounding her in something real. The waitress told her the men came through town once a year on a charity ride for disabled veterans. They weren't what people thought they were. Behind the tattoos and rough exteriors were men who had seen pain, loss, and regret, and who now used their strength to protect others from it. Later that day, as Clara rolled toward the bus stop, she caught her reflection in the glass door. The vest looked oversized on her, but she didn't care. For the first time, she didn't just see a girl in a wheelchair. She saw someone brave enough to face the world again. Before you go, wait till you hear what happens next. Stay with us. A few days later, a letter arrived at the diner. It was from Clara. She'd written to thank them for standing up for her, for reminding her that kindness could rise even from places most people fear. The owner framed it and hung it near the door. Beneath it, he placed a photo someone had taken that day. Clara smiling through tears, a leather vest draped across her shoulders. The next time the Hell's Angels rode through town, they stopped again at Maplewood Diner. The same waitress was there. So was Clara. She'd come to see them off. Roar walked up, smiled, and nodded toward the vest she wore proudly. Still family? He asked. Always, Clara said. He laughed softly. Good, because family looks out for each other. That morning, they ate pancakes together, laughter and warmth filling the same space that had once echoed with cruelty. The memory of that day became more than a story. It became proof that kindness, even when delivered through unexpected hands, can rewrite someone's life. As the engines roared back to life, Clara waved, her heart full. She knew she'd carry that sound, that thunder of kindness, with her forever. Because sometimes the heroes we least expect are the ones who remind us how powerful it is to stand up for what's right. If the story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom, where we bring you real stories of kindness, courage, and second chances.